interesting how people would show up in your life, behave in certain ways, and just casually exposes wounds that you thought you have healed. And this is going to be my very first video on this channel, and I'm supposed to say hello to anybody who come across this video, and maybe just introduce myself a bit and then talk more in the following videos. But today is Sunday and we went to church, and I had something in my mind that I could see myself thinking and feeling clearly about it. And while we were coming on the way and while talking to friends, my mind just went on and off with what I was thinking. And I tried to make sense of it or understand why I feel that way. And of course, some books, um, like some philosophical books or psychology books that I've been reading to help me understand myself more, tells me that it's my the fear that I had was my inner child, and it was me, the adult me, who was observing the inner child, um, feeling all of that. And so I was being strong for her, the little me who is feeling whatever she was feeling. I might maybe talk more as the video progresses, but after the lunch, I kept thinking to really sit down and record it. And I think one of the reasons I wanna come across being real and vulnerable is that I have seen a lot of other videos that are very helpful, and they gave me company, people who spoke their hearts out and just connecting to people. I find those kind of videos very helpful, so I might as well make the same video and let's say at some maybe different topics with my own experiences. Even no one out there might relate to, at least something that in my alone time I could play it and give me a company. I don't know how it's going to be, but it might be like that. So that's why I am here in front of my little garden. Let me show you a little bit of my garden. So I've just sown some seeds, spinach seeds, few days back, and I think it's sprouting, but I will be planting. I'll be watering it more um, to see them grow bigger. So yes, let's get to the point. My name is Mary, as you probably see from the channel name. I'm here in Timor-Leste. It is one of the newest, smallest island country in Southeast Asia, a little close to Indonesia. And if you never been here, if you don't know where it is, I understand. But I'm here. I grew up here. I was born here, and I've always thought of making videos, and I have more than one channel. Uh, First, the other one was just for some languages and for Timorese people, and the other one was more scriptive. And I don't really feel real in those videos where I can just sit and like I'm talking to another lonely soul or anybody who need a company out there. So we were gonna talk about the broken mess I am. I think it is something that I don't easily hide from anybody or from people I trusted or people who appreciate vulnerability, people who appreciate emotional honesty, emotional awareness. Uh, Usually, when I see those kind of people, we usually share a lot about those things. But when the friends that I used to have that have that ability to talk deeply on all those matters have their own families and they are in different countries and we don't get to sit together and speak much. So it's not like I'm making this video because I don't have a friend. I think it's more like wanting to connect with someone that I couldn't, that have, that is going through similar, process or stages in life, like healing, awareness, and um, having lots of sad, traumatic experiences in the past, and are finding himself healing. And I wanted to make this video to connect with some of you who might be going through that. And so yes, that's why this channel is existing now. um and talking about being a broken mess, um one reason why, there's so many reasons actually, and I used to, whenever that feeling comes up, I smooth it over with some kind of wisdom or thoughts that I got somewhere else about just thinking positively, everything will be okay. I don't think I believe in those things anymore. um I think being able to sit down and sit with your feelings, sit with the difficult emotions, heal from it, um, is something I've been practicing the past 2 years. I'm nowhere perfect, nowhere um, close to figuring things out in terms of healing. I'm mostly self-healing. I I notice myself thinking, observing, noticing small things in social settings, in family dynamics, in different areas, even in friendships. And I noticed how I reacted to it, and I would go and search about it, why I felt how I felt, and I would go on reading other books or videos on YouTube to help me understand those. Um, and so, being a broken mess, um, sometimes I would feel like I know what I'm doing, that um, I would act confident in front of people, talking to people, um, like I have things figured out. But in my head, there is there are voices or feelings that contradict that surface composure that I try to maintain in public. Like today in church, I have few ladies that I know, and not that I know them very closely, but they used to be um, very friendly. But noticing them not having the same energy today, um, I could justify their death by saying, "Oh, they might be busy or something else." But I also have that wound, that or the feeling of being uncomfortable in that situation. I if once I feel energetic or excited to see someone, and if there is no problem, anything at all, I would always wanted to show up the same way. And maybe that part of me expected to be seen that way as well, to be, you know, for someone to like show same excitement as they had few like last year or the last time. But they was just I looked at them and smiled, but they looked down. So um, a part of me tried to say, oh, they were focusing on the food on the table, they were just doing their things. And then still a part of me felt like, oh yeah, but last time they weren't like that. Even though they were busy with food, they still look up to you and talk. So amidst tens of people sitting and eating, my mind was arguing about it. While the adult me, tried to stay composed and act like I noticed these children fighting inside me, needing attention, and I'd follow what I have read and just observe the thoughts passing. Um, the thing is, I wish someone's. I don't have to be affected when someone don't see me. Um, yeah. Um, I've been trying to sit with this feeling and don't want to rush into concluding it, rush into wisdom yet. Um, but of course, a part of me um, desire to not to give a damn about whoever is just ignoring, or if they don't ignore, if they just live their own life, just live their life, and it doesn't have to affect me. And I think that's something that I strive towards. But at this point in life, I'm still a broken mess that easily gets um, my wound easily get touched by those kind of situations. And especially if I notice people I know or know closely are having close contact with those people, and they would stand and talk, and I still can't I still can't understand why it affected me. And although outwardly I would look and smile and bye bye, and then I would go, but yeah, it is there. And interesting how people would show up in your life, behave in certain ways, and just casually exposes wounds that you thought you have healed long time ago, which is obviously not. And and then we had a talk. Another way I would say I'm still a broken mess is just like, let's say, two or three or four of us talking, and if I notice one person, the other person who is talking, look at the other two more, and maybe the whole conversation he or she won't look at me, or maybe just once or twice, but they want to lock eyes with the other two or the other one more, that one also still hurts. I It's still there, and I cannot um, act like it doesn't. Well, I used to act like, I don't care who you are, um, or I would just, oh yeah, it's okay. They're probably comfortable to look at that person more, and I used to do that. But why is that feeling always there? It's not like you just smooth it over and then you'll be okay. And I'm allowing that mess to come out, and it feels destabilizing sometimes. And even like I have mentioned, I have other videos, um, and people would comment on some of my reflective videos and say, hey, above anything else, put God first and you'll be okay. And I think in the past few years I would appreciate those kind of comments, but at this stage in life it's not that easy. And I do still believe in God, and I talk to him sometimes, but not so much out of routine anymore like I used to have 5 6 years ago, 2 3 years ago, where we have specific day to always meet up and have fellowships and group discussions and prayers and all of that. um the ones that I have now is a little less talking, but every time I talk I notice, um I would notice some things in nature, and then it connect me to God. And I used to believe everything so radically, that now I'm at the point where I want to sit back a little bit and observe and not come up so strong, because being seen as religious is a good thing, or at least that's how it used to motivate me to be very religious, prayerful, and always present in many church prayer meetings. It felt good. And the time I was single, and if you are single, um, having that persona sells, you know. Um, People who come to church sometimes pretend like they do come to church for God, but they usually come to see which lady is more active, which lady is prayerful, which lady is blah 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 blah, all those boxes. And yeah, I used to be one of those. And it is a long story, but when I left that church, um, mostly because I left the church. Um, I It wasn't easy, and I think there should be another video where I can talk about that. But the point is that I'm at the stage in life where I want things to be done intentionally. If I pray, I want to pray intentionally. Um, I don't want it to come out of routine, or I don't want someone to come and sing these really good hymns to uplift me. And like in some churches I go to, they would sing lots and lots of hymns that you have to stand up and sing like 4, 5, 6 songs in a row, um, and repeating the same lyrics over and over again. Um, I notice a lot of people enjoy it, but I think it's not really my thing. I much rather have few words that I mean it and say it once, and then repeat it over and over again. And I guess that's just part of praise, but that's just my opinion. Um, so yes, when I hear that comment or I read that comment, it makes the part of me feels like I'm being, or someone is telling me that I am far from God. Of course, when I left that church, there was so much of drama around it and so much of words around it, and so that still sticks with me. And so if some of those members in that church come and follow me in my videos and say those things, um, it doesn't really help when you are talking about something reflective and it is going in different direction, and then someone that suddenly come in and put their polish their religious views over the vulnerabilities that they all share. um, I do have few, not so much, but religious friends that we talk with sometimes, and I appreciate the ones that have gone through ups and downs with God, and sometimes they are at the point of their life where they're so disappointed with God, and they they leave, and then something suddenly just click in their head that makes sense about the existence of God, and they will come back and they will share those things. And I'm at a point where I love to have that real relationship, and not so much of a show or performance where I have to put a mask on. I'm not saying people are going to church are putting a mask on, but I can just say from my own experience that it honestly usually is a mask. No matter how I try to say or make it look like it was genuine, part of course, my heart felt it at some point, but most of it were a show, for church leaders or elders to notice me and maybe recommend me to some guys that I can eventually marry. Well, now I'm married, and it's just been 2 years since then. And also because of this marriage, I was kicked out from that church. But again, we can talk more about that next time. So yes, I'm a broken mess in a way that um, I'm still allowing things to unfold before me, and things that I feel so sure of before. I wanted to I wanted it to unfold before me. I wanted to observe that in nature. I wanted to hear less and think more of it. I Because I used to read lots and lots of passages and quote them to just anybody and evangelize and all of that. But I'm at the point where I'm not so much into those anymore, not because I'm less interested, but I've seen how it can be disappointing to see someone code so much and yet you can still see hurtful actions or hear hurtful words from them. And in my own experience, I've noticed so much of religious, very, very religious people come off less self-aware, and so mostly they projected on you. I think I've taken so much of videos, so my memory is full, so I had to go and delete some of them. So very, very good. And yes, I'm a broken mess because of all of those things. And I'm in a process of healing myself. My sleep is really, really bad. Last night I slept, I won't believe it, I slept at 5 a.m. So basically it's not last night, it's just this morning. And I woke up at just 5 minutes or 10 minutes before church. My husband had to cook. Of course, because weekends he would cook and I only cook on weekdays. So that was a good thing. But yes, my sleep makes it even worse. And I've had this very bad sleep for since I was actually single. I already had this insomnia, and nights are the times that my mind would wander everywhere. I would think of ideas and implement it in my head, and I would like create a whole company in my head and how I would run the company successfully, just completely in my head, and it kept me awake. Like it felt really, my brain felt really hot, and I couldn't sleep. really. And last night was one of those. But other nights, I managed to sleep around 1 or 2, and sometimes I would sleep at around 11, but most of the time it's impossible. And so, yes, a broken mess who is still struggling with basic needs, sleep, is a huge struggle for me. And it is aging me. I'm only about 30, and sometimes when people talk about age and they look at me and I feel old and I have lots of pimples and big pores here. And before they say anything, I would just say, yeah, I look older than my age, just to not allow anybody to say it to me. So I had to be the one to say it to myself. I know it is bad, but yeah, over time I learned that I should be kinder to myself, no matter who is not. But oftentimes I let it happen. Also, um, especially when another reason why I'm a broken mess is um, very like I live at the mercy of other people's approval. Not that I'm hungry for it every day, but it's more like if I can sense those subtle, hurtful words that they put in those conversations, and as a joke, they would say things, and I know that it already hurts me, but I don't know how to sit with it. I don't know how to pause for some time to just let that feeling sink or sit with the feeling. I rather just turn it into a joke and laugh at that person and just to give away my power just like that and give the satisfaction the other person needs. And honestly, I would feel so bad eventually when I feel alone. I would think about that joke, although in front of that person or those people I would just laugh off the joke and act like it was nothing. But then eventually, when I I was I became alone, or I got into my comfort zone, it didn't really leave me. It wasn't really just a joke. It touches it touched something, and um and so now I have layers of feelings having to deal with the betrayal I had for myself, and then having to maintain that um, jokes and laughters that I create with people. And I would say I can be fake sometime or many times as well. Um, and I don't feel really good about it. Um, just for the sake of peace, I would just turn things into jokes so we all can just laugh it off and just be okay. But it's not really necessary to do those. And I think eventually lately I'm more aware of those things, but it's still kind of hard for me to do it naturally. I've seen some people whom we hosted over for dinner. They can sit with uncomfortable jokes. What I mean is things that are uncomfortable to them, they can just brush it off. Oh, no, not brush it off, but like become quiet. And so I feel something. It's like if there is some joke and they don't like it, they are quiet. Or I kind of learn from those. But the problem, it actually when I say something, I meant it to be a joke and I didn't mean to hurt them. But if they become quiet, I kind of analyze their words or analyze their silence. And I was like, oh, did I touch anything? Did I hurt them? And so I would I've learned something from it. Like I think it is good that if someone make a joke, you can just be quiet if you don't like it and just move on. But the problem with me is because when it's done to me, when I do a joke and someone just um, are quiet and make a face that they don't like it or it touched something in them and they much rather they would rather to talk about something else, it doesn't feel good with me, so I don't want to do it to someone else, even if it has it even if those jokes cost me my peace, cost me, yeah, um or hurt me. I don't know what else to talk about. And now I'm working volunteer. I used to be a teacher. I supposed to mention it in the introduction earlier, but yes, I used to be a teacher when I was with that church. I, I promise you guys that I will um, talk in detail about that church in some videos in the future. But for now, um, I used to be a teacher in that church, and then now when I left the church, I I tried other schools, but I realized I wanted to do something else, and writing is something that I loved doing, especially for Timor-Leste here, where there's no proper books, and I wanted to do that for this country, but it's just I I, I have a few manuscripts here, but I still don't find a proper publisher to really publish it. Anyway, those are just children's book or anything like poetry or anything that comes to my mind or my own experiences about healing and self-development or other stories. But so I'm actually doing something like that um, once in a while and doing my videos in my other channels that has quite a good following just for English. I mean, like language learning and another one is volunteering as a people care. And honestly, I don't feel qualified for that work as a people care because usually it's supposed to be done by a psychologist or someone who knows something about psychology, and I'm only there with my own wound, my wound that enable me to relate to other people's wounds, and sometimes someone else's wound activated my own wound, and so I had to relieve my own sad experiences over and over again. And so I'm about to go through some training on how I can handle those things, but it's just been a few months. It's actually great because people don't happen to share a lot of things. Of course, there are times that they do, but mostly I would just be with them and bring some snacks or do have cards of with words of appreciation in it, and I think they really appreciate it and they make sure I know that they do. And yeah, those are kind of healing for me as well as I think about um, those people and meeting them once a week to care for them and nourish them with just kind words or even prayers or I call it the people care day. Usually it happens on Thursday. Yeah, I let Wednesday be my self-care day, and I would let myself just be let let that whole day be for myself. But other days I have some things to catch up on. But yes, so I'm doing that work, and I find it helpful for this stage that I am in life because then um, I would understand how people are going and how I am learning how I can um, distinguish or separate someone else's wounds, and I can turn off that part of me while I talk to them, so I don't come off feeling their pain too much, and that makes me look weak. And sometimes I notice that they stop talking because they can see tears in my eyes already while they're talking. And it happened a few weeks back, or I know a few months back in a way. So it happened, and then I had to just be learn to handle that again in a better way after it happened. So yeah, that's my life for now. A broken and messy person on her way to healing and interesting how some moments, some just some moments are just too heavy for me lately, or at least in this stage of life. I would go to I would go to an environment or participate in a function, and similar voices or similar personalities that I meet from certain countries, or people that that used to have some unfinished emotional baggage in me, tend to reactivate that wound, and I can notice that when I leave that place, I felt heavier, and I've noticed myself more introverted lately, but also in a good way. I would say lately I'm able to not to recognize where I stand, and I know if I am affected at the moment, and I can withdraw myself from it when and I can hear that instinct, or whatever you call it, intuition, to leave, and not really stretching myself thin to make that person comfortable, because I think one thing that I've learned over the years is that people need to be allowed to face their own discomfort, because I cannot take that away from them, but which is something I used to do because I don't want them to go through that. So I would carry it for them. I would carry the emotional space of the environment, and I would feel so heavy, and I would make sure, yeah, if I notice someone is hurt in front of me, I or if someone says something to another person and I notice that there's hurtful words in it, I would immediately jump in to make it even, or try to defend this person who doesn't need my defense. I notice that it doesn't usually happen, but yeah, that's how broken I am. And I want to be in a position where I don't have to do that, that I am confident and strong enough, not only in my ability but in other people's ability to handle their own discomfort, and I don't have to keep jumping in to hold it for them. And because most of the time I've noticed that it's not for them, but it's for my own comfort, and it's not very helpful when that happens, because a proper care should come from I mean, I think one thing, there's a saying, sometimes an advice benefit the giver more than the receiver. And lately I've been able to see if some advice that I hear are meant for me or meant for themselves, and also to see if what I'm saying to someone else, is it for their good, or is it because of my own discomfort that I cannot handle it, so I had to say it, and so that it's for my own good. Anyway, I think it's so long already. I probably should go now. I should go inside, and I appreciate you guys so much for being here. It's my very first video, and I didn't expect it to be this long. I haven't decided what day I will come, and I would schedule for videos like this, but today is Sunday, so I want to see, whenever I feel the need to talk, I want to talk, because if I set the routine or set the I want to talk only on that specific day, along the way later on I can, after, if we have a small community to connect with each other, then we will see from there. But for now, I just want to give myself time and see when will I feel ready to record again. I love sitting here, listening to the sounds and the songs of the birds. Yeah. I can only hope that if this video find you, if this video found you and you can relate to it, I hope you feel less alone in your healing journey. And yeah, before I end, another reason why I'm a broken mess is my routine is really unpredictable. Sometimes I would come off really, really strong and doing all of my like my little garden here. But clean it up and water it, and other days I would spend a lot of my time scrolling and just to spend another time feeling guilty about it and beat myself up about it. But again, lately it's not really been like that. I kind of uh, being able to catch myself quickly, although not so much, especially in the evenings, because I cannot really turn off my head. But during the day, if I notice that I've actually gone a little too far in my scrolling, it's like I I always try to remember that moment when I went to my hometown with my husband. Um, and we went to the wrong route, and we went far for up to 40-50 minutes already, and it was already quite far from the main route that we're supposed to take to reach our destination. And when we realized that it was already almost an hour, but we immediately turned back and we didn't actually go straight. So that actually helps me realize, whenever I actually scroll so much, that moment reminds me. The moment I realize that I'm already spending so much of my time, or that I've been on one position for so long, and that I notice my neck or my side is getting numb, I need to stop because I cannot go even farther, just like that route that we took. If we had continually, traveled or go on that path for another half an hour, 2 more hours, then it would have made that returning to the main route difficult, or it would have taken us more of our energy, time, and even fuel. So that applies to. I've always applied that analogy to in terms of scrolling or other things, because I think lately the main thing, I don't do video games, so I think my main distractions lately are scrolling. I'm not so much into politics. It's very funny but I watch American news and politics and how things are going on right now in the U.S., and I would feel annoyed about it, and I kind of agree with some, not like some political parties, but like some journalists who actually share some really good thoughts that I agree with, and I learned their resilience in amidst all of that, are being put down or talked trust or harshly by their own president, and they still stood up and defending themselves. I think the kind of strength is a little bit rare. I mean, it is rare. Where I come from, everyone is fearful of anybody who is in position, while there, that freedom of speech allow anybody to express themselves freely. And I tune into those things to listen to those podcasts, and also um, other videos. But anyway, and so those are my kind of distractions for now. And just like I said, when I noticed that I've gone so far, about an hour, I pull myself back. I wanted to go back to the right main road immediately. I was standing up. I don't feel good at all right after I stand up, but I'm able to sit with that, guilty feeling or nagging feeling inside me, and take myself to the mirror and do a little bit of stretching quickly, and until a few minutes passed, then I noticed that my body calmed down, and then I would bring myself back to doing my chores again. Yeah, but again, it is all over the place as for now. I do have this idea, or have this ideal kind of life, being a wife, wanting to wake up early, providing for your family, and before I sleep, I listen to those kind of videos like women from the past, um, where they were able to knit and do lots of things. I think I'm not sure at this point. I'm I'm trying to see if my desire to be the kind of wife is because that is something that people are praising so much. Is why I want to do this so I can be praised, or is it something I really want to do? And I'm still in the middle of figuring that out. But of course, I cannot really ignore that nagging thought sometime in me that says I'm not even a good enough wife who can't even wake up and make breakfast for my own husband. Which it's been 2 years since we got married, and he's being able to make his own breakfast every morning. Um, but yeah, when I meet people who can do that, it just feels like a slap in my face because I don't do that in my own house. I said I would go already, but I think I'm still not going. I would keep talking, but again, I really appreciate you being here. You should really go now, and thank you so much. I'll see you again in my next video. If it's okay with you, please let me know in the comments where are you watching from and which part of this video do you resonate with. Otherwise, I appreciate you for being here. Bye. I should turn it off before I talk again, so